So, welcome back to Oddballs Behind the Scenes. I'm co-creator of Oddballs, Ethan Banville, of course, co-created with my buddy James Rallison, aka the Odd Ones Out, everybody's pal, as anyone who's ever met him can contend. But welcome back to another episode. This is part one, Wanted Dead or a Fly, behind the scenes. And we're going to share with you not only some things that changed from storyboards to the fully animated episode, but also some of the original, not the original, one of the voices of Max, let's say, before we found Julian Gant, who of course is our amazing Max today. But let's have a look.
Yes! Yeah! 98, 99, 100! Yeah, get some!
So we ended up using that because James has started lifting weights with his buddy DJ virtually during the pandemic, and he was getting all yoked. And I, of course, have always been into fitness and started doing these crazy trail runs up this hill in the valley here outside of Los Angeles proper. And I sent James a video of it, and he was like, yeah, get some. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. We got to use that for Wanted Dead or a Fly. Wanted Dead or a Fly was one of the earliest episodes we actually did in production. So that's why I mentioned during the pandemic, because it was early days when we did this one. First two were Toasty and this one. So we love this one a lot. And James is fully jacked at this one on screen and off.
Oh hey, you're probably wondering how I got in this situation. Well, it all started with homework.
So here you will hear some of the original Max, and then you'll hear the Julian version of Max as well. And throughout today's part one, you will hear varying differences between the two, so you can get a sense of, kind of how Julian brings a little more subtlety, a little more comedy, a little more Max to Max.
My homework is an extension of myself.
My homework is an extension of myself.
You'll see in a minute, Max's voice much deeper when Julian does it.
My homework is an extension of myself.
My homework is an extension of myself.
There you go. Now, we'll continue with this. But first, a little fun story about James's dad.
My homework is an
Good granite quartz.
So, that is Harlan Williams, the great stand-up comedian. And we had him in to play dad. And James's dad, for those who don't know, is a geologist. That's why he dresses like he does. He studies rocks out in the desert. He gets mocked sometimes by other scientists for not having a real science job. But needless to say, he loves what he does, and he loves rocks. So, of course, we told Harlan, hey, could he be listening to something, some kind of music, some rock and roll, boom cha. And Harlan came up with that, Good Granite Quartz.
homework is an
Good granite quartz.
Now,
literature was
this, of course, is the old fly attacking James, original Max.
Literature was not.
shoot, 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 shoot.
And you can see we ended up not going quite as sweaty with James. And there it is. The original storyboards, Little Women, versus the one that we used that we were able to clear. They had to do some changes because I believe the original board one was based on an actual Little Women cover in existence that somebody owned.
I think I got it.
Is she small?
Again, this would be the original Max.
Yes.
Vulnerable?
Oh,
Does
extreme.
she interrupt you a lot?
Oh, constantly. That's what I love most about her.
And this, of course, the reason I put this in there too
Interrupt you a lot?
was to show some of Mr.
Yes.
McFly's
Vulnerable?
Oh,
glasses off. There's a great better shot here. There it is. So as you can see, he removes his glasses and the eyeballs are still there. The reason for that, we decided, was, well, flies have eyes kind of around their head. And we wanted to have him be so insecure that he would put on fake eyes so that people would know where to look at when he was talking to them. Because otherwise, where do you look? Because he's got 5 eyes with thousands of eyes within those eyes. So that's why we did the little gag with the glasses with Mr. McFly.
yeah.
James and Max now, of course, think that they've murdered their teacher's grandmother.
I totally whacked McFly's grandma!
Murderer!
Now, Max says murderer. This is going to come up again later. And we're going to get more into it in part 2. But let's just say that you can count on one hand the times that we say murder or kill in this episode, because we had to reduce it due to standards, due to standards and practices. One of my favorite lines that James came up with in the moment when him and I were writing, just really, really funny. He looked up what Little Women was about and gave that great little
If I knew it was his
diatribe
grandma, I
rant.
wouldn't have smashed her face in with a literary classic about women's struggle between familial duty and personal growth. Just
So, still one of my favorites. Netflix loved the joke. Everybody loved it. Really, really, really funny. Yay, James Morrison. Odd Ones Out. He's amazing.
relax. Stay calm.
I'm trying, but it's not easy.
Again, original Max.
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to myself because I am freaking out. Okay, you know what? It's all going to be fine. We just have to get rid of the body.
I can't do it.
So a little more whiny, little higher pitched.
Fine. Then stay here and sound like me so my parents don't realize I'm sneaking out to bury a corpse.
And I cut out the moment here of the rant because James apparently does not like it. He never told us during production, but I don't think he liked us having him say rant, dab, hashtag, because when I initially met him, he dabbed a lot. Now he does the pat on the back thing. Okay, so this shot, we wanted to do kind of that, this is our horror episode. So we wanted to do that horror shot of like within the grave and the dirt on top. And then you see the shovel come in, shovel. And then when we go up top, where we see James in the wide shot, we see that he's just holding a spoon and it's a tiny little hole. Unfortunately, as you'll see here, it's pretty clear in this next bit that it's a spoon when he comes back in. That's not really looking like a shovel, but we tried, but that was the original intent, for this to look like he was shoveling a deep hole to bury a body. And then, of course, when we cut out, we see that he's got a tiny little hole for this little fly that he's just digging with a spoon, which sets up, of course, the great spoon joke. We're going to need a bigger spoon. You mean a shovel? That Max does later. Now, see, murder again. Time number 2. So you can see in the fully colored version, it's Slaughter Lane instead of Murder Ave, which it was in the boards. We had a lot of notes on this episode of it being possibly too scary for kids. We'll get more into that again, and the murder changes in part 2, but that is good old part 1 of Wanted Dead or a Fly. So come back next time for more about this episode and more about how many times we get to say murder and kill and all the different other various options that were replaced with throughout. Iced, whacked, you name it. We came up with a lot, but tune in next week. Like and subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.